What? Adam, are you finally having that midlife crisis?
Today, we're diving into one of the most mysterious and powerful albums ever recorded.
A record with no official title, no band name on the cover, but a sound that echoes louder than almost anything in rock history. This is Led Zeppelin IV.
This was the band at their very peak, pushing boundaries, rejecting expectations, and creating something that didn't just define an era, but transcended it.
The stories behind the songs, the symbolism, the recording process, we've got it all.
Hello again, and welcome to One More Music Pod. I'm Adam.
And I'm Jack.
So, in this episode, we are discussing Led Zeppelin's album, Led Zeppelin IV.
First thing that I wanted to talk about, Robert Plant. What a glorious mane of hair that man has.
Best hair in music.
I think so, yeah. I think it's a wonder how he never got picked to do a shampoo commercial.
Kind of like a plant-based shampoo.
Oh, very good, yeah.
You can imagine him in the shower, his hair's all wet. It's like, this is Robert Plant.
Anyway, yeah.
Moving on.
Do you want a tedious link?
Go on.
Yeah, okay. Regular feature of the podcast.
Yep.
Each episode we give a tedious link that links the record we discussed in the previous episode to the one we're discussing today. The record that we looked at last time was Nebraska by Bruce Springsteen.
Da Boss.
Da Boss. And this is what links Bruce Springsteen to Led Zepp. So, Bruce Springsteen's legendary E Street Band guitarist is Steven Van Zandt. Steven Van Zandt acted in The Sopranos alongside James Gandolfini.
Oh.
I didn't actually know that.
No, great TV show.
James Gandolfini starred in True Romance, written by Quentin Tarantino. And Quentin Tarantino is famously obsessed with classic rock, including Led Zeppelin, and has tried multiple times to license their music for his films.
There we go.
Yeah. Not one of the best ever, I have to say, but never mind.
Provided by our man, Steve?
Yeah, as ever, provided by our man in the field, Steve, who does these for us.
Well, thank you, Steve. I'm grateful. If Jack isn't. Jeez. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Right, anyway, let's talk about Led Zeppelin. So, to start the episode, we've got some Led Zeppelin fun facts.
They look fun.
They are, yeah, they're very fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to...
Strap in. So, Led Zeppelin were formed in 1968.
Yeah, the band came together in London when guitarist Jimmy Page assembled a new group following the breakup of the Yardbirds. He was joined by singer Robert Plant, drummer John Bonham, and bassist and keyboardist John Paul Jones.
They initially performed under the name The New Yardbirds before officially becoming Led Zeppelin later in 1968.
And where does the name Led Zeppelin come from?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's actually came from a bit of a joke, actually. So when the band was forming, guitarist Jimmy Page was discussing the idea of a new supergroup with people in the music scene, including Keith Moon and John Entwistle of The Who. One of them joked that the project would go down like a lead balloon, meaning it would fail badly. They played with that idea and turned it into Led Zeppelin. So yeah, the name is basically a tongue-in-cheek way of saying something that was supposed to crash, but instead it soared.
Yeah. Interesting. So Led Zeppelin played their first gig on the 7th of September 1968 at the Glad's Axe Teen Club in Copenhagen.
Led Zeppelin's largest audience. So generally considered to be their show at the Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan on the 30th of April 1977. That concert drew an estimated 76 to 77,000 people, which at the time set a world record for the largest attendance at a single artist concert, beating a previous record held by The Who.
Led Zeppelin have sold around 300 million albums worldwide, making them one of the best-selling music artists of all time.
They had their own private jet. The band toured the US in a customised Boeing 720, nicknamed the Starship, complete with a bar, a lounge, and even a bedroom.
They rarely released singles. Unlike most bands, Zeppelin avoided putting out singles in the UK. Jimmy Page wanted fans to experience albums as complete works, especially records like this one.
And of course, Led Zeppelin's partying is the stuff of legend.
They loved a party.
They did. So there's the Riot House antics, for example. So The band frequently stayed at the Continental Hyatt House in LA, nicknamed the Riot House. During these days, they occupied multiple floors, and John Bonham was notorious for riding a motorcycle through the hotel corridors.
Boy and heart.
Yeah. Right. There's also another incident that's kind of gone down in infamy. The Mud Shark incident. In Seattle, 1969, the band was staying at a hotel, and it was next to a river that had these mud sharks in. And one day, they were hanging out with a groupie in the hotel room, and somebody went and grabbed a shark out of the river.
As you do?
Yeah, as you do, yeah.
Hold on, mate, I'm just going to grab a shark. Yeah.
So
another drink.
So they were in the hotel room with the shark and this groupie, and started getting a bit, frisky, and
Yeah, well, the shark did.
Kind of, and somebody put the shark in her fanny.
That is disgusting. What the hell?
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, I need to look what a mud shark looks like. You carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it was different times,
Yeah, bring back the days where you could mud shark on your funny. God, world's gone mad when you can't put. These are massive. What the hell?
Maybe it was like a baby one or
Was
something.
it coming out of mouth? Jesus. I thought these were like little fishes. I mean, I can imagine that was the mud shark's face as it was pushed up it. Oh, wow, okay. Right.
I think it must have been a baby or something like that, because
It's
that is huge.
See, well, let's put an adult one up there. Traumatise the baby for the rest of its life to lead.
So they're notorious for their on the road antics.
Yeah.
This is going to sound less exciting now, but
Right.
they also trashed hotel rooms quite
Boring.
frequently. Yeah.
Bring back the mud shark.
Which I realised I should have put the mud shark at the end because everything else is an anticlimax.
Yeah. So after all of that, the band disformed in 1980 after the death of John Bonham, although they did reunite for a one-off performance at Live Aid in 1985 with Phil Collins playing the drums. The performance was notoriously messy due to a lack of rehearsal time.
Yeah. So Phil Collins played at the London gig, didn't he, in the morning at Wembley?
Oh, okay.
And then flew over to the States to play in LA.
Yeah.
And they just didn't have a time to kind of rehearse, really. And finally, this is quite an interesting one. So Robert Plant's son, Logan Plant, started the Beavertown Brewery in 2011, which has gone on to become one of the UK's best-known craft beer brands.
Yeah. Famously for like neck oil and gamma ray and those sorts of
Yeah, quite like a neck oil. They're good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks, Jack.
Right then, shall we talk about the music now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Enough of the sharks.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Lead up to Led Zeppelin IV.
Yeah, okay. So I guess before this album dropped, Led Zeppelin were already massive, but not really everyone's cup of tea. Their previous record, Led Zeppelin III, really split opinion, and mostly because of that kind of a big acoustic shift that they kind of went towards on that album.
Yeah, the crowd went mild.
It certainly did, yeah.
Even Rolling Stone wasn't totally sold. They called it a brave album, but not always a convincing one, which is kind of critic speak for we don't really get it.
Quite harsh.
Yeah. So the critics kind of said it leaned too far into folk and acoustic sounds. It caught a lot of people off guard. They were expecting like the big, heavy riffs, not introspection and mandolins.
Yeah. But all credit to them, they didn't backtrack.
No, not at all. If anything, they doubled down, didn't they?
Yeah. With Jimmy Page producing, they started pushing way beyond what a rock album was supposed to sound like.
Yep, alongside Robert Plant, John Paul Jones and John Bonham, they pulled everything together. Heavy riffs, folk textures, blues roots, even a bit of mysticism.
It wasn't just different, it was bigger, more ambitious, more daring.
Yeah, it wasn't a correction, it was a statement.
So, Jack, I want to talk to you about Headley Grange. So Headley Grange is a large country house in Hampshire, England, near the village of Headley. And honestly, it's a bit of a dream setting. Quiet, isolated, nothing much around it.
Which for a band like Led Zepp was kind of perfect, wasn't it? They rolled in a mobile recording unit and just made the house part of the sound. You've got high ceilings, thick stone walls, long echoey corridors. All of that natural acoustics gets baked into the recordings. And that isolation really mattered. There was no studios, no distractions, just the band. So Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones and John Bonham basically left to experiment and follow ideas wherever they went.
And they weren't the only ones. The Rolling Stones recorded parts of Exile on Main Street there. Genesis worked on Foxtrot, and Bad Company cut their debut Bad Company in the same space.
So it wasn't just a house. It became this weird creative playground for some of the biggest bands of the era. Before we dive into the album, we've got to talk about the whole vibe around it, the symbolism, the concept, because this wasn't just an album, was it?
No.
It doesn't even have an official title. So a lot of people call it Led Zeppelin IV, others call it Zoso, some say just the Runes album.
Yeah. So yeah, instead of putting their names on it, each member of Led Zeppelin picked a personal symbol.
Yep, so Jimmy Page went with the Zoso symbol, which is probably the most famous one. Kind of looks like a stylized word, Zoso, but it's not actually a word. Possibly inspired by occult or alchemical symbols. I know Jimmy Page was big into like the occult, wasn't he, and kind of mysticism. But he's always said that it's personal and it's not meant to be explained.
John Paul Jones went with the triple oval symbol, which is 3 interlocking ovals forming a triangular shape. Comes from a symbol in Rudolf Koch's Book of Signs. It represents confidence and competence, and sometimes interpreted as a trinity or unity.
Yeah, John Bonham went with the 3 rings, which were just 3 overlapping circles, known as the Borromean rings. Also came from the Book of Signs. This symbolises family, unity and strength. Yeah, some fans link it to the idea of interconnected forces.
And finally, Robert Plant, the feather in a circle. Inspired by the Maat, Egyptian goddess of truth and justice, represents balance, truth and creativity, which Plant later used as a personal emblem throughout his career. I think that's my favourite out of all of them.
I don't know, I quite like the Zoso one.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was just thinking, like, maybe we should have like our own symbols.
Yeah.
I could maybe have like the aubergine emoji in a circle.
Yeah, I'd go for what would be mine?
You could be.
Mine would just be like the melted face emoji. 'Cause I feel like just my day-to-day life that's just my face, just melting away with the stupidity of people around me. Should we move on? It's not a therapy session, is it, Jake? No.
Right then, Led Zeppelin IV. Let's have a look at this. It was recorded between December 1970 and February 1971. Released on the Atlantic label.
Produced by Jimmy Page.
And released on the 8th of November 1971. Right, let's have a quick look at the album cover. I think it's safe to say one of the most bizarre and abstract covers on any record. So as we said before, instead of having the band's name or the album title, the cover art has none of that. It just has a framed picture hanging on a worn, peeling wall. This was partly a reaction to criticism that Led Zeppelin were overhyped. They wanted the music to stand out without any branding.
The image itself depicts an old man.
Why is that funny?
Because it's an old man bent over. Okay. The image itself depicts an old man bent over, carrying a bundle of sticks on his back. The figure is often called the Hermit or the Stickman. Robert Plant found the picture in an antique shop.
Yep. So what is the meaning of the Stickman? So the Stickman symbolises the weight of a lifetime, both literal and metaphorical, representing hard work, endurance, and the burdens people carry through life, while also acting as a figure of tradition, carrying the past into the present. Set against the backdrop of modern decay, he reflects the tension between old rural ways and industrial society.
This ties closely to the music on Led Zeppelin IV because the album itself is built on that same tension between the old world and the new. Many of the songs draw heavily from folk, blues and myth, traditions that feel ancient and rooted, while being played with the power of modern rock. Tracks like Black Dog and Rock and Roll lean into raw physical energy, like the Stickman's Labour and Endurance, while The Battle of Evermore and Stairway to Heaven explore mystical, almost timeless themes, echoing the idea of carrying history and wisdom forward. In that sense, Led Zeppelin are doing musically what the figure represents visually, taking the weight of older traditions and transforming them into something new without losing their depth or meaning.
Yeah, so that's an overview that I found on the internet. I wonder, is that what the band were thinking when they chose that picture?
Definitely not. Definitely not. It is funny, isn't it, how people interpret things. They put all this waffle around something that maybe just took 5 minutes.
Yeah, like we just did. Yeah,
when they were just pissed up.
Yeah,
playing the sharks.
I think they could well have gone, oh, that looks really weird, let's use that.
Yeah. They almost, like, it's funny, isn't it? Because they wanted to detract from like their previous record and have something that now everyone's talking about the front cover and what it could mean, but actually it's just an old photo.
Exactly. It's like over time everyone's sort of added this meaning to it and this symbolism.
Yeah, well, that's the opposite of what the band wanted at the time.
Fun fact for you, Adam. The identity of the Stickman was discovered in 2023 by Brian Edwards of the University of the West of England, who found the original picture when looking through a photograph album as part of a research project. The Stickman is a Thatcher from Wiltshire called Lot Long. The photo was part of a collection by photographer Ernest Farmer from 1892.
Very good. Very good.
Hey, Mama said the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
Calm down, at least buy me dinner first. Jack, what a song to open the album. It's such a great mix of kind of blues and proper hard rock power. And that riff, music nerd alert, really stands out because of its uneven phrasing.
Oh, very good. That kind of messes with you a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah. Technically, it's in 4/4 time. But it doesn't land where you expect. It feels a bit slippery, like it takes a second to really find the rhythm.
Come back to mud sharks there, aren't we? Definitely, and the riff's kind of like double. Definitely, and the riff's kind of like doubled up, layered to make it sound heavier and tighter. Then when that solo comes in, it kind of loosens things up a bit and leans into more those bluesy scales.
Yeah, so it's really rooted in blues tradition, just with that extra swagger. Lyrically, it's all about attraction and lust, Plant singing about wanting, chasing, being completely taken by someone.
Yeah, it's got that real sense of confidence about it, kind of proper bravado, very classic blues and early rock, that self-assured perspective. It's not exactly shy about it. Couple of quick facts on this one, Jack. No guitar in the intro, just a cappella vocals. Bonham recorded his drums in a big hallway to get that huge echoing sound. And that kind of stop-start vocal style comes straight from blues traditions. Sort of artists like Muddy Waters, people like that. The band apparently named this track Black Dog because a real black dog used to wander around Headley Grange, often popping into the kitchen. Jimmy Page joked it must have been out partying all night because it slept there all day. One of the lads, wasn't he? The dog.
Legend.
Yeah.
And according to Rolling Stone, this is the third best Led Zeppelin song of all time. They say, and I quote, "It's arguably the most badass Led Zeppelin riff." Can you name the other two songs above it?
So, Stairway to Heaven in number 2 and in number 1 is Whole Lot of Love.
Nice.
Makes sense, really, doesn't it? I think that's a fair judgment from Rolling Stone.
I think, Whole Lot of Love is an absolute tune, isn't it? So, fair play. Okay, another standout track, Stairway to Heaven.
Bit more than standout, Jack. This is probably one of the most iconic songs in rock history.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that.
So in terms of its structure and sound, it's really well known for its progressive structure. It starts off quite softly with acoustic guitar and recorders. You don't hear many recorders in songs anymore, do you?
No.
Bring back the recorder.
Yeah. Well, is that? I think I would say recorder is just the worst instrument.
Triangle.
No, I'd say, like, have you ever been...
Really? You put in the recorder?
Have you never been... Do you not remember being in primary school and playing recorders?
Yeah.
Like having, like, 38-year-olds going, like...
Yeah. I've still got my recorder upstairs. Should take it out with us today.
It's the most awful.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, the worst one.
Yeah. Gradually layers in electric instruments and drums, and it climbs.
Are you laughing at the word climax?
Yeah. It's just a word you don't see very often, isn't it?
Or maybe not you, I don't know.
Oh, that's what she said. So climaxes with a powerful hard rock section and soloed by Jimmy Page. That slow to heavy progression was pretty unusual at the time and became hugely influential.
Yeah, after this song, we started seeing lots of other songs that kind of built on that same progression. So, a few examples. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. So, not identical stylistically, but it pushes the idea of a multi-part epic song even further. Yeah. Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd, which starts off as a ballad and ends with that long, soaring, guitar-driven finale, doesn't it? And then one more, November Rain by Guns N' Roses. So piano-led intro that builds into dramatic guitar solos and orchestration.
So kind of the lyrics and the meaning behind the lyrics, written by Robert Plant, the lyrics are often described as mysterious and symbolic. They touch on themes like materialism versus spirituality, the search for meaning, illusion and self-deception. So the lyric, the lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, is often interpreted as someone chasing wealth instead of deeper fulfillment. Something
that I wanted to talk about that I found quite interesting is the backmasking conspiracy from the 1980s that revolved around this song. In the early 1980s, some listeners, especially religious groups, argued that if you played parts of the song backwards, you could hear hidden satanic phrases. The most famous claim was that a section would reveal lines like, "Here's to my sweet Satan." These claims focused on the quieter, mystical middle section sung by Robert Plant. And this is a bit mad, this. So this even reached government attention. The controversy got big enough that it was discussed during hearings by the California State Assembly in 1982. Did people have too much time on their hands back then?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking only in America.
Yeah.
Shite like this make it into bloody, mainstream national conversation.
Yeah, some people were pushing for labels on records that supposedly contained hidden messages.
Oh dear.
So I thought, why don't we have a listen to this? So I've found the audio.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play it now.
Okay.
So Adam, let me know what you think about this. So the first part, apparently he's saying, "Here's to my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad."
Here's to my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad.
Okay, yeah, that's coming through.
And then the next section, he's supposedly saying, "Whose power is Satan? He will give those with him 666."
Whose power is Satan? You give those with you 666.
Doesn't really make any sense, does it?
No.
If you just put this message in, at least make grammatical sense. Jeez. So, understandably, Led Zeppelin denied the claims outright. There was never real credible evidence that Stairway to Heaven contains any of these kind of intentional hidden messages.
Yeah, because it's bollocks.
Because it is absolute bollocks. So there is an interesting kind of phenomena, psychological effect around this, and it's called, Jack, you pronounce this because
it's called pareidolia.
And that is essentially you're told what to listen for.
Yeah, so when you're told what to listen for, your brain tries to match sounds to those words. Backwards audio is already distorted, so that makes it easy to interpret it in many ways. Different listeners often hear completely different phrases. I suppose if I'd said, like, the first line is him reciting his Tesco shopping list, you'd probably hear him going, "Cans of beans."
Yeah. Beef mince.
Yeah.
Yeah. Semi-skim milk. Jack, what are you doing with that goat?
Oh, shit, sorry. I don't know what came over me there. I just had this sudden urge to, like, slaughter a goat. I don't know what happened there.
You need help. Well, anyway, there are some other songs, Jack, that are claimed to be this backmasking that we just talked about. Another one, Bites the Dust by Queen. People claim the chorus, when reversed, sounded like "It's fun to smoke marijuana." The band denied it. It's just the rhythm and repetition messing with your ears.
Yeah, another famous one is Hotel California by Eagles. Allegedly contained satanic references when played backwards. This one got tied to conspiracy theories about hidden cult messages, but again, there was no evidence.
And then we have Revolution 9 by the Beatles. Reversing part of it can sound like Turn Me On, Dead Man. Fans linked it to the Paul is dead conspiracy.
Yeah, that Paul McCartney being dead conspiracy, I always thought was just absolutely mental.
I think there's something in it.
Do you think?
No, I'm joking. Yeah.
Because, like, you can see him on the TV.
And he looks the same, just older.
He's still here.
Yeah, it's like the Jim Carrey one, isn't it? Have you seen that one recently?
What's the Jim Carrey one?
Where, because obviously he kind of went into hiding for a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he looks very, very different to how he did in his previous public appearances, and people are saying that it's not him anymore. And, you know, like the Illuminati have got to him, and
interesting.
Because he started to talk out about power and how power is an illusion, and the powers that be don't like that, and they've basically got to him.
Ooh,
yeah, so
interesting.
A little bit Twin Peaks kind of.
Maybe
Twilight. Yeah,
that reminds me, there's the Avril Lavigne one as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Apparently she's dead.
Yeah.
And for like the last 20 years, someone else has been like playing her.
Yeah. Elvis is a funny one. Like people say, they've spotted a fat Elvis in Peru drinking coffee, and it's like, no, it just looks like someone called Elvis.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be dead now anyway, surely.
True. Well, you know, he might have been cryogenically frozen.
Yeah.
You know, like Walt Disney.
Yeah.
So going back to Stairway to Heaven, Jimmy Page said that this song crystallized the essence of the band. It had everything there and showed us at our best. It was a milestone. Every musician wants to do something of lasting quality, something which will hold up for a long time. We did it with Stairway.
You think Led Zeppelin, this is one of the first songs you think of, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Brilliant song. So, Jack, the track Rock and Roll.
Yeah, now this is my favourite song on the album.
It's a banger.
Yeah, it's a catchy, no frills, back to basic rock and roll song built around a blues chord progression. Actually reminds me a bit of our Elvis episode.
Yeah, it's a good point. I was thinking that as well.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of early 1950s rock and roll vibes off this one. The song features that famous drum pattern by John Bonham. Interestingly, it's based on the intro from Keep a Knockin' by Little Richard.
This one quickly became a live staple for Led Zeppelin and still stands out as one of the defining songs of classic rock radio. When you put it next to Stairway to Heaven, it really highlights the band's range. They're able to jump from raw, straight-ahead rock and roll to sprawling, intricate epics without missing a beat. That versatility is a big part of why they're often called one of the greatest rock bands of all time. And at its core, the track is all about the thrill and kind of chaos of life on the road. The kind of rock and roll fantasy most of us probably imagine at some point. What do you think, Jack?
A little bit how we live our lives, isn't it?
Well,
really?
it is. No, we've got this podcast. Our lives have changed. Fun fact for you, Jack. Robert Plant recorded the vocals for this track as he was recovering from a car accident. And it was reported that he was in a wheelchair whilst recording. You could say they still managed to stay in the fast lane. Hey, Jack? Fast lane?
So anyway. So yeah, those are the sort of standout tracks for us. Let's have a quick look at the legacy of the album.
So, lifetime sales over 37 million, which was the band's best-selling album. On Spotify, it's been streamed over 2.7 billion times, and the album was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999.
Nice. What about some reviews? So, Rolling Stone said, Led Zeppelin, a band never particularly known for its tendency to understate matters, has produced an album which is remarkable for its low-keyed and tasteful subtlety. The march of the dinosaurs that broke the ground for their first epic release has apparently vanished, taking along with it the splattering electronics of their second effort and the leaden acoustic moves that seem to weigh down their third.
AllMusic said, Going to California is the group's best folk song, and the rockers are endlessly inventive. Whether it's the complex, multi-layered Black Dog, the pounding hippie satire of Misty Mountain Hop, or the funky riffs of Four Sticks, When the Levy Breaks is the one truly equal to Stairway, helping give album 4 the feeling of an epic, an apocalyptic slice of urban blues. When the Levy Breaks is as forceful and frightening as Zeppelin ever got. And its layered dynamics illustrate why none of their imitators could ever equal them. And the BBC, with immaculate playing, a mystically obscure sleeve, and a remarkable range of tunes, Led Zeppelin's IV is still, for many, the best example of the group's craft. Robert Plant thinks so himself. He's been quoted saying simply, the 4th album, that's it.
Wow, high praise.
High praise indeed.
Yeah. So, myself and Adam, we've given our thoughts on the album and the band, but at the end of the day, we were never around to experience Led Zeppelin in period. So, what do we know? Nothing.
Nout.
I wanted to get perspective on the band from someone who grew up with them and saw them live. Luckily, I know somebody who did just that, my dad.
Woo.
So, he's written us a quick reflection on the band, and this is what he said about them. The genesis of Led Zeppelin was the New Yardbirds, the great Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page in the same band. A guitarist dream team. I nearly said wet dream.
Oh, steady down.
Ew.
Steady on.
Put John Bonham onto the drummer's stool and you have Led Zeppelin. Jim McCarty, who was the Yardbirds drummer, is a fine drummer, but not what was to become known as a rock drummer. There's quite a lot about drumming in here because my dad's a drummer, so yeah. You're gonna hear a lot about John Bonham here. John Bonham, power, precision, subtlety, the master and creator of the bass drum triplet with a single pedal. Listen to How Many More Times, which is the first track on Led Zeppelin 1. A sense of anticipation before their gigs, excelled by sheer power. You've got Jimmy Page's raw, gut-wrenching guitar, John Bonham's powerful drums, all held together by John Paul Jones's rhythmical bass playing, and soaring above it all, the blueprint for all rock vocalists, Robert Plant. Live, they were even better than the recordings. Led Zeppelin IV is an album full of classics, my favourite being Misty Mountain Hop, which feels as though the drums are playing out of time. It creates a dichotomy, but it works. Rock and roll, John Bonham's tour de force. Black Dog is a classic Jimmy Page riff. For the balladeers, you've got Stairway to Heaven, which speeds up. This was a time before click tracks, of course. A genuine classic, which some consider to be the progenitor for heavy rock and metal.
Wow.
There we go.
Does he want to come on the podcast?
Yeah.
That was one a hell of a summary. So I'm assuming based on that, he's seen them live?
Yeah, he did. He saw them at the Free Trade Hall and also the Bath Festival.
Well, the Free Trade Hall, I'm assuming, is that the one in Manchester?
Yeah.
The one we've talked about in the Joy Division episode?
Yeah.
Musical heritage.
He also saw the New Yardbirds as well, so he knows his stuff.
Well, thank you very much for the contribution.
Yeah. Right, I think that just about wraps things up for this episode of One More Music Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as ever, thank you very much for listening. Our next episode, we're looking at Harry's House by Harry Styles. And as ever, please do make sure you give us a follow on Instagram. We're at One More Music Pod, and also TikTok. And also, whatever platform you're listening to this on as well, just give us a follow.
Follow and a review.
Yeah.
Little 5-star.
Yeah, just do it.
We deserve it.
Just do it, do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, my name's Jack.
And I'm Adam.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Arrivederci.